Hey, it's time for the one and only The African Next Door, a podcast where we discuss the challenges and experiences of life and how to overcome them. And I'm your host, Patrick Onek. Remember to follow me on Facebook and Instagram for up-to-date content. And without further ado, let's kick off this episode. Hey. All right, we're back. Welcome back to the show. Today we've got a new topic, awesome, fantastic topic that I've been trying to get here for a long time. And this one's called the good and the bad and the dowry. That's right, the good, the bad, and the dowry. The main focus of this topic is talk about the bride price, the challenges that we had to face as men, because I'm telling you right now, a lot of men suffered at the end of the dowry. I know from experience myself, I suffered too. And today I brought 4 men here. We're going to have a discussion, a conversation about what we have experienced individually and what we can sort of do and what advice we can offer to young people who are going to be going through this thing later as well. So I'm going to introduce the guests. We'll start with our brother Kenya here. So he can introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Emmanuel Yugu. I'm a social worker. I work for Youth Justice. I've been working there for 2 years. I've been married for 4 years to my beautiful wife, and we have 2 beautiful children.
My name is Samuel Wani. My profession, basically, I'm a service technician, mechanical / water engineering at the same time. So I'm pretty much fixing all our waters and providing clean waters in the hospital, mining side, waste side, all of that. So that's what I do. But also at the same time, I'm a pastor. So I'm also married with 1 child, beautiful wife, and a lovely daughter. So we've been married for 3 years. This is our 3rd year coming now. We're enjoying our marriage so far.
My name is George Wani. I'm basically a support worker and also working as an assistant in nursing, helping those who are in need due to their medical and physical need. I've been married to my queen, turning now 6 years, and enjoying life.
What's up, everybody? My name is Sabir. I work as a scrub TSO, so that's theatre support, and our job is basically to help prepare and get people on the operating table at the hospital. I love my job. About my relationship, I have been married for about 1 year and 3 months to my lovely wife, and we're expecting a child in about 4.5 weeks, which we are extremely excited about.
Fantastic. So that's the guest we have on the show today. You've heard some pretty good stuff there. And, as you can see that most of us here are family men. We're all looking for have a family someday. And this topic today is going to show you that that's sometimes very difficult when we have to go through such a challenging time in our lives. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to ask these gentlemen here to tell me, what was the figure that you were asked? Because I feel like we should just get straight into it so we can sort of know what kind of numbers we're working with here so you guys can see that we're not playing around here. We're being serious. So for me, my figure was actually 37,000. So that was 37,000 was asked from me that I had to provide. But originally they asked for 90,000, which I told them isn't possible because, excuse me, I need a house too, But from there, they were like, nah, you have to bring that or you can't have our daughter's hand in marriage. So what we'll do is we'll go around in circles. The boys can tell us their numbers, what they were asked, and what they thought about it when they were asked that figure.
Yeah, mine was, because I'm married to a Dinka, so they asked for 70K, but I gave 35. And in their culture, that was a surprise because most of the Dinka people were not giving that much money, even though they're demanding so much. So the family was really pleased that I came with half of what they asked for.
What about you, Sabia? What figure were you asked?
Funny enough, mine was actually similar to yours, Patrick. I was asked to actually pay 90,000. So what had happened, my family, like my dad and my uncles and stuff, they went over and they had a chat. And in between the conversations, they're allowed to communicate to me what's happening in the meeting. And I got a call back from my uncle, and it was like, nephew, they asked 90,000. Are you willing to continue with this or not? as you know me, I got frustrated. I started questioning these people. Are they right? 90,000? Do they think money grows from the tree? And so basically I told them to bring it lower.
Yeah.
And then eventually
Yeah.
they brought it down to 70,000.
Oh wow, it's still pretty high. Eh?
It's still really, really high. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it any lower. So it stopped at 70,000.
Oh my.
And I don't know if you're going to believe this, Patrick, but I paid 50,000.
Woo! Wow.
Yeah.
My goodness. Yeah, you truly suffered, my friend. You truly suffered. Yeah. Wow. That's pretty high, man. That's high. What about you? What about you, Kenny?
For me, the experience, actually, I enjoyed it because ours was all done in one day. So we had the celebration and the dowry on the same day. So for most people who don't understand that, that kind of puts the pressure on the family for things to go through if they've already, made the preparations for celebrations. So for me, I think they asked around 90 something, and we gave around 30 something thousand. For me, the whole experience, like for me, it was not the money aspect. Is that she's coming to this family, and to know that this family is going to look after her, and I am accepting responsibility to take her as my wife, and that responsibility is also to meet the standards of what the parents are asking for.
Oh wow, no, that's good. That's a good perspective. I mean, that really helps, especially when you're trying to keep a positive outlook on that, because sometimes, it is a pretty crazy time dealing with that sort of figures. But yeah, George, you haven't told us yours yet. So what was yours?
Yeah, mine. Well, I just have to release because it is what it was. As I'm happy with my wife, I was like 35,
Yeah.
and I've paid like 23.
Oh, it's pretty good. Yeah. Wow. They loved you, man. They loved you good, man.
He's the man.
Yeah, nah, they liked him, hey, wow. Nah, they liked you good, man. I wish they liked me like that too, hey. But yeah, as you can see, these are big numbers, These ain't no small numbers. And every man has to make a sacrifice, especially Sudanese, to get your wife. And all of us have to do that. And the thing is, some people think, we sometimes it look like in the moment we weren't happy about it, but I'm sure all the men here can say that we were very happy with our wives right now. We're very happy for the sacrifice we did, because money comes back, but a good wife doesn't. And we all have great wives here. So, but that's just an experience there that we all went through. And as you can see, it's a Sudanese tradition. It's different for each person, but I think perspective really matters. And I'm sure all the men can agree that it's how you look at it matters, because if you look at it a negative way, it's going to be a bad experience. Yeah. But if you look at it a good or positive way, you might have a great experience. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is, I'm going to talk about the fact that, because I know that most of us here are actually married into different tribes. We chose ladies out from different tribes. We didn't want our own. We wanted what's out there, So I want us to talk about it, because what's that experience like? Because I know that sometimes different cultures come with different challenges. And I know, especially in Sudanese, when you want the girl, you have to do what the girl's family wants. It's not about the guy. Your culture means nothing. It's all about the girl's culture. So we're going to go around. You just tell us what your experience was like dealing with the difference in culture, and whether that was challenging or whether it was good.
For me, I'm from Fajulu, so I married into Madi. So the experience was really good, because the good thing was my dad's brother is actually married. One of his wife is from Madi. So we had some sort of knowledge about like the cultural, like the traditional steps for the dowry, and also from secondhand information for other people who also been married into Madi. The overall experience was really good. The big difference is when you understand the sort of family you're going into, it makes things much easier. Okay, because I'm not going to a family that would not put the needs of their daughter before their own needs, which is really important, which allows the whole process to kind of go much smoother, So the whole time, I understood that it's going to be a long night, but I wasn't really stressed. I'm just, waiting in anticipation once things progress to where we need to be, and then that way to continue from there.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think for mine, I think before going to meet the parents, when I told my parents that I found a girl and she's Dinka, are you sure? That was the first question my dad asked. Are you sure? Then I said, yes, I'm sure. I was like, you sure again? So my dad wanted to make sure, because for him, he accepted me to go to Dinka, but he's not sure if the Dinka will accept me. But I was so confident about it that yes, they did. And so the transition to being married, for me, the experience was exciting, but at the same time, there was a lot of unknown, because I didn't know the culture much. We didn't know the culture much, and there was not many relatives in my family that was married to Dinka. There was one, but his experience was bad because he was beaten one time just after after they knew that he was dating the girl. He got beaten, and I saw how beaten he was, and he couldn't report it to the police. So I thought maybe here we go, that could be me next. But thankfully that it wasn't me, But to be honest with you, I love the process, because the process taught me a lot of things about the culture, and taught me as well about myself, and taught me a lot about the family that I was going into. The dad, before he passed away, unfortunately, was really kind and told everybody that, you know what, I want this man to marry my daughter, nobody else.
Wow.
And so the transition, the acceptance was really easy for me. So, yeah, it was a good experience.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. What about you, Sabia?
Well, for me, actually, funny story. It was very tricky. It was very challenging, tricky and challenging. Because initially, number one, not only is my wife from a different tribe, but me, myself, I struggled getting brought up traditionally in my tribe. Because my parents, both of them are from two different tribes. And because of that, it was kind of hard for them to bring me up in the tribe that they wanted, There was tension. My dad would want to raise me up in his way. My mom would want to raise me up in her way. So basically that was challenging. So number one, I didn't grow up according to my tribe and culture. And now I'm marrying someone else who my parents don't even understand their tribe and culture. So basically what we did was we had to find someone from within her culture to give us a rundown and practically hold our hands and go step by step on how to accomplish this thing. And funny thing is, we did not know at the time, but that person ended up being related to my wife. So can you imagine?
It's like a setup, eh?
Yeah. So, but eventually we got there, and the outcome of it was good. But at the beginning, as I said, extremely challenging.
Wow, yeah. No, that sounds pretty challenging. Quite a challenging experience there. The person you had that thought got your back, but turns out they're related. What? That'll feel pretty weird. What about you, George? What happened with your...
Well, it's very nice to actually coming to know all these things, especially if I wish I knew actually the possibility of different tribe doing stuff. But for me, the lucky part, my wife is, cause she's from the Muru tribe. Apparently, Madi and Muru, they used to be one.
Oh, wow.
Don't want
Easy,
to know
mate.
how exactly that separation happened, but still, each of the tribe have their different style, which actually Madi and Muru, they kind of really like similar or close. That's why when I was surprised, my day of that Kasurbe day didn't take as long as I thought. From what I heard about other people when they're going for their Kasurbe time, the bride price,
Yeah, wow.
and everything actually flowed really good and didn't take that long.
Wow, no, that's good. That's what you want, especially on that day. Yeah, and that's definitely good. Sounds like some of us experienced some bad challenging moments. Some of us had some good experiences. But ultimately, it seems that, at the end of the day, all of us were glad it was done. We're glad it finally succeeded and went through, because, nothing worse than sitting there in the car at home waiting. Is it going to work? Is she going to come? I'm going to get my wife or no? You're wondering. You get a phone call. You get nervous answering it. And whether they're asking for more money, but you're not sure. But eventually it happened. And, I'm glad that it happened for all of us. That's good. Because for me personally, mine was the same sort of thing too. I didn't know the culture very well. The culture I married into is Nubian. Great culture, but I had no idea about anything they do. The only thing I remember about Nuba was when I was in the Kakuma refugee camp, and my stepdad told me he was going to Nuba Mountains. That's the only thing I ever knew about Nuba. And now I'm marrying into Nuba. I have no idea. Everything was risky. It was so much unknowns. The culture was just so different. But eventually, slowly, I guess, I learned from people by asking people that were in the tribe what they do and stuff like that. But one thing I found through the experience is that sometimes a lot of the young people or the girls didn't really know much about the culture either. And I don't know if that was the same for you guys, but for me, when I asked my wife about the culture, she couldn't really tell me much about it because she said she wasn't told much either when she was sort of growing up. And I feel like, I feel like the aunties and uncles and mums and dads keep their stuff until the day comes, but then they don't tell the girl because maybe the girl might, tell the guy everything, and they don't want the guy to know anything when you're coming in. So was that the same experience for you guys, or was it only for me?
For me, it was a bit different because my wife has been to a lot of Dafamal, so she's very well versed in her culture and all like the traditional steps and things. So she knew because her sister also went through the whole process. So she was very knowledgeable in that aspect, which is really good to see because, like you said, not a lot of people actually know what the steps is in terms of going into the whole mal and dowry process, which is a good thing that we all learned even through the experience that what is our own culture says in terms of somebody coming to our house for mal and what other people out there also are expecting from us. So it was a good learning experience and I learned a lot. So,
well, that's awesome. Yeah, and that sounds like you're lucky, mate. You're lucky. You find someone that knew the ins and outs, mate. So you got all the information you needed in that moment. So that's good. That's good.
Yeah, this Kenny guy is lucky.
Yeah, I know, man. This guy, he's got everything working out good in that situation, man.
For me, it wasn't that lucky.
No.
Because mine was quite similar to yours, actually, Patrick. Even though my wife came from that tribe, she didn't know really much. And you know what's funny? With her tribe, eventually down the track, just before you get married, you're supposed to get tested about her tribe. So it's actually the responsibility of her to teach you and tell you things about her tribe, their customs, how do they do things, the background of where she's from, and especially background of the mom and dad.
Yeah.
And then when I'm supposed to get tested, they're supposed to ask me, okay, where's Alat's mom and dad from? What tribe are they? So the fact that they kept it so long and not told me earlier, that's what brought up the issue and struggles. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it'd be like that. What about you guys over there?
Yeah, I think mine, both of us really were not so much into culture, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, but I've been like in different, my sisters as well, I've been through it and my other brothers. But when it came to my time, I pretty much asked my wife, make sure you're well informed, educate yourself. And she ran up to her aunties and like really dig down and found a lot of things. And I also had to learn not just through my wife because my wife didn't know much. So I had to go to her auntie to inform me. So
smart.
For me, I had to go through the aunties and the sisters to learn more about her culture because she was not very well informed, and neither was I, and because there's not a lot of thinkers that I knew to really teach me as well. But the good thing is that as well, my uncles were really versed and well informed. So they were going in and out. They were going from community to community because they were community leaders as well. Yeah. So they would call out the community leaders and said, this is the information we know. Now we're telling you guys. So they would tell my parents and they would also tell me. And I'm like, yeah, I confirm that's true because I spoke to the auntie. So I was very informed.
That's good. Wow. That makes it less stress, man. You're not as worried as we were. My goodness. That's what I wish I had, like, because, nothing worse than not knowing anything and then getting tested in the last moment. So... But I'm glad you got all the information you needed, eh? What about you, George? Did you get all the information you needed for yours, or?
Well, before that, not all the information that I needed. Even like my girlfriend at that time, partner, she wasn't actually fully sure with a lot of the traditional way of the tribal, how it goes. That's why she had to, of course, go to her auntie or mom to just give them a summary of like how this tribal thing all goes along, especially with... Since going to Madi man, as if, Madi is like, as if Madi is like, Thai, it's like mine.
Yeah.
So it's like as if, I'm bringing her back to the Madi family. But still,
the good one?
Yeah.
But I didn't think about that, but that's really good.
That's good.
But still, the great part is, we have like a lot of, especially our uncle, our previous, like, Madi community like chairman like John Coma and those are the uncle on my side. Even actually for even my wife's side, they were actually willing to be on my wife's side. But then some of them decided to be on my side and some on her side. And that's why they actually have informed us like how this is all going to be going, which there is not so much big difference that I can recall or know, but that's where our uncles and aunties have really summarized that a lot, how this is all going to be going, the step that needs to be followed, especially from how beginning they do the old tribal style. And that's why we had a lot of support from the uncle and aunties.
Okay. Wow.
So you can see, like, from me and my brother,
Yeah.
like, we had family leaders
Yeah.
that were very well informed.
Yeah.
And they were constantly coming to the family and informing us of the steps of every culture that we were getting into.
Wow, man. I wish I was in that family. Probably some information for me too, man. That would be nice. But nah, I didn't get any information. Nah, because for me personally, I didn't get any information. Like, it was all gone in blind. And I even asked people back home because they said, oh, yeah, now I'm married to Nuba. I'm like, all right, tell me about Nuba. They're like, but I didn't pay Mal. Well, that doesn't help me at all. I need information that can help me. He's like, oh, yeah, Nuba here, they don't ask for Mal. I'm like, well, the one here, they're asking for Mal. So, like I need information that can help me. What am I supposed to do? And they're like, no, look, brother, now you'll be fine, man. You'll be fine. Well, look, just take it easy. You'll be fine. And I'm like, okay, I'll be fine. Let me tell you what they asked me. And I told them the figure. And they were like, woo! They're like, oh, my goodness. I'm like, yep. It's like, Nuba never charged that much. I'm like, yeah, I didn't think they did either, but here we are now. So, but yeah, so there wasn't really a lot of information. I didn't know anyone I could ask. No uncles that knew or experienced the Nuba culture in Australia, because Nuba back home and Nuba here are very different. And I think a lot of the cultures are like that too, where the tribe back home is very different when they do, marriage and stuff compared to when they do it overseas. So yeah, it was quite a different experience for everyone. The next thing that I want us to go into is something I really wanted to talk about is because I think we all know this has happened to all of us is when it came to after you pay the mile, you pay the money, it's time for celebration, and then you gotta have that wedding, that big wedding that broke your bank, that wedding that that wedding that you had to invite the whole country to, that wedding that had like 300 people that you didn't even know, that wedding,
The whole community.
yeah, the whole community. So because I want to talk about that because I feel like I don't know why they do this to us, but because I feel like I don't know personally, I feel like the parents like to hijack the wedding. They're like, oh my goodness, my son's getting married. I gotta invite everyone in town to come, all my friends, and then your friends are only like 10 people, but all the rest, 300 people, are all her friends. And I don't know if that was the same for you guys, but I found for me when it was the wedding time was just so challenging because I was told to invite like 300 people at first, but I was like, there's no way I can invite 300 people each family. That's like 600 people. I don't know 600 people. I have no idea who those people are. I only know like 10 people. There's no way I can invite all of them. But eventually I found that, it was just such a hard moment, especially as a guy, because you're trying to, you're trying to impress your missus, your wife-to-be. You're trying to make sure that she's happy because her side's got to be invited too. But then you want to invite your side too. So it was really hard deciding who to eliminate. So I don't know what your experience is for you guys, but, if you guys can tell us a bit about your experience with the wedding itself, the challenges you had with the numbers, that'd be good to know, eh?
Yeah, for us, we were married during COVID, so with the social distancing, couple. This was a very difficult time with restrictions. So we went to many venues, but the biggest problem was the government put laws in place where for a certain amount of people to be in certain rooms, there has to be a certain size for each. So one of the venues we were going to go with, where my sister actually got married, we couldn't go there because for the amount of people we wanted, which was 300, they didn't have the space. So we had to look for a bigger space, that way to comply with what the government was asking. So for us, I was straight up with my parents about the whole who you inviting or not. I just said, for me, I have a big family, and that's from all of my relatives and all that stuff. I wanted all of them to be there. So for me, basically, my side was cousins and relatives. No friends, nobody from work, none of that. It was literally from each family, there would be like 10 kids or 10 family members. this is my uncle's kids. This is people I grew up with. And for me, it was very important that I wanted the younger kids to be a part of also being in the wedding. Because in most times, we're always telling people, oh, it's uncle this, uncle that. But if we want the next generation of kids to also go through this process, we need to invite them to be a part of these celebrations. So from all of my relatives, I invited the entire families, and that's how our wedding was done. And for both families, we split the number in half, and then her half she looked after, and then my half I looked after. So my parents didn't get a say in who they're inviting, because most of the people that's on the list is my uncles. So I couldn't say, take my family and put your friends in. That doesn't work, because I didn't have friends either on there. So it was a really good experience.
Wow, no, that's pretty good. That's why I wasn't invited. No. No, but that's true though. Sometimes as you have to make a sacrifice like that, especially when it comes to an important event like this, because like Kenya was saying, it's the people that were there for you when you were young, the uncles, the cousins, people that were there actually for you that you should invite, rather than inviting friends, from work who you probably all known for a couple of months. So it was definitely, I see like, you definitely made a good choice, doing it that way. And I'm sure it made it less stressful, hopefully, because, all the families are already coming anyway. So that's the stress gone already. And most of one thing I realized is that people from work generally don't ask. If they know they're not invited, they just leave it as that. Like, especially, white people. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I found one day people from work asked me, can I come? And I said, sorry, I'm full. They're like, oh, it's all good. Don't worry about it. So it was sort of like that for me. What about you, Sabia? How was your numbers? How did they play with you?
I had two different numbers, actually. Initially, what we wanted was 300 people in total. And then, so basically, her family gets 150, and then we get 150. So basically, initially, what I wanted to do was I get 50, or was it I get 100 and my parents get 50? But like you mentioned, when you're getting married, mothers, eh?
Mm-hmm.
That's when they jump in. Oh, my son's getting married. Let me take full control. So basically, yeah, she pushed and pushed and pushed and got her way. So she ended up getting 100 and something. I ended up only getting like 30.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Wow, man. I thought it was your wedding. Or is it her wedding?
Yeah. That's one thing that I learned is when a son or a daughter is getting married, it's not really their wedding at the end of the day. It's a big eye-opener. It's actually the mothers that are getting married.
100%.
So, yeah, that
100%.
was my experience.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. What about you, Pastor?
Oh, mine was good. Well, mine was good, but at the same time, I had a lot of changes because of COVID. I plan ahead. So I think when I got my wife, I told her in 5 years' time we'll get married. And then now all you need to do is save up this much amount of money, and you're done. And I save up this much money for what I need to do for a house, and I think you do your part. But when the time came, the issue was that COVID. Keep blocking it back and forth. So we were not getting the numbers that we want. We wanted 300 people. Then COVID came. Then we said, all right, we were able to do 150. I was like so happy. I was like, 150, that's good. I'll save me money. And then as I planned to do it again, COVID happened. So we had to reschedule again. And then finally they gave us about 200, and we were happy with that. But then just a month or two before, they'd taken all the restriction. So I had to push myself again to go back to the original plan. And I didn't want to, but my wife said, look, this is the opportunity, the best thing, let's take it.
Yeah.
So took it. But what I loved about the wedding process and everything like that, I think my parents knew the system that they will not get a say in a lot of things that we wanted to happen in the wedding. Whatever we give them, they work with it. And so we said, we will, since it's 300, we take 100, me and my wife. Then the families, both sides get 100. But in that family's 100, we divide that, the one we're giving to our parents. So if we give them 100, 50 at least has to secure, or not 50, but majority of family has to be secured first. And then the outsider can come in.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was what we really planned about it like that. But I didn't have an issue with my parents. They were okay with it, both family, except my in-laws. My in-laws really wanted 400 people. 500 people. And to them, to Dinka, wedding is not restricted.
Yeah, no.
Wedding is unlimited.
Yeah.
You know, so to them, no, everybody wanted to come from different state. And so the negotiation was constantly, we couldn't even get a list sorted with their side. But we had to make sacrifices and we had to emphasize on the point. And obviously it upset a lot of people. It made the mother look bad to their community. But unfortunately, that was what it is. And I think many of them until today are angry at me for not inviting them.
All right.
And on the day, people came in there uninvited.
Oh, yeah.
We had 400 people instead of 300 people.
Yeah. Man, who are these 100 people, man? Who are these 100? Wow. No, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's a big number, too. That's crazy. If it was like 5, 10, yeah, okay. But 100 people uninvited show up out of nowhere. Man, that's going to ruin the food, man. Going to ruin everything.
To come like in the late, like around 10 p.m.
Because by
when
then
everything is settled out, so then everybody's seated and everything, then they want to come.
By then, you probably don't care that much because you can't do anything about it anyway.
Exactly.
Oh, they planned it good. What about you, George? How was it? How was the numbers game for you?
Well, with the numbers game for us, as we had to do everything I know to make our decision with my wife. Like there was a lot of stress, but still we know everything is up to us for us to go hand it to our both families. Just like my brother said, for us, because we knew where we're gonna do our reception. But ours one, we chose to do like an outdoor wedding.
Yeah.
Because not just because I used to be a soccer player, I'm still a soccer player. But yeah, well, that's how exactly everyone that knows me. Yeah. That's why George is doing an outdoor wedding soccer player. Yeah, even they made that announcement on the day still. But yeah, because the outdoor wedding, we had so many people got invited.
Yeah.
Unlimited. Especially that was also during the COVID time.
Yeah.
But for our reception, we had our maximum limit of up to 400. Yeah.
Whoa.
Because we did our calculation that for both families. Also, we had some of our people that we know or friends invited. But still, after that day of that wedding, there's a lot of people still asking us.
Why weren't they invited?
How come we didn't get invited? Yeah.
Wow, 400. My goodness, that's a new record, man. I haven't heard of that one before. 400 people.
That was at the Creation Club.
Yikes. Wow. Well, advertise them right there. Hey, 400. If you're on 400, that's the place for you. Man, 400 people. And people are still angry that you didn't invite them. Mm-hmm. Man, that's crazy, man. That's like, where do you think the money comes from for these weddings?
Not even interstate.
Nah.
A lot of interstate came.
Yeah.
Still there's others.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Now, that's crazy. I
think that with the invitation thing, my dad, until this day, he was getting hounded by people who were like, oh, so you guys do a wedding and don't invite us, but we invite you to our wedding and all this stuff. I said to him, I'll take the blame. Just say my son was the one who said, I'm not allowed to invite anyone and all this sort of thing. Because to me, a lot of those people, I don't really know them. So if the blame is on me, it's fine. They can hate me or whatever, but I don't even know them like that. So, but for our parents, the pressure is definitely on them because they get invited to so-and-so's wedding, so-and-so's thing. So they feel the obligation that anyone who's ever invited me to anything,
I must
invite them, if it was a baby shower.
That's seriously it.
They feel the obligation that the whole of Queensland and interstate and, international, So I feel bad for them, but at the same time, this is nothing to do with these people. And these people have no value to me personally.
Yeah, no, 100%. Nah, it's like that, especially when, they still talk about how come they weren't invited. And you're like, I don't know about you guys, but I usually ask, name me one thing you've done in my life that I can remember. And usually there's nothing. So I'm like, oh, well, there you go. That's probably why you didn't get an invite, Because and they were like, yeah, but a lot of people came that you didn't know. And I'm like, yeah, but to me, they had a meaning, They meant something to me. But like big numbers like that, it's like if I ask you right now, do you remember everyone that was there? Do you remember everyone that was at your wedding?
Majority.
Yeah. You remember majority, yeah?
Majority of my tribes.
Yeah, you remember them, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I'd say no.
No?
Out of the number we thought, 300, but I reckon at least 400 people rocked up.
Yeah.
Out of those 400 people, I'd say, I don't know, 100 maybe.
Yeah, wow. So 300 people are known.
A couple of aunties even, I wasn't sure. They're actually my aunties. Yeah, even though I get some recommendation of my parents of when I used to be still young.
Yeah, it's a lot out.
Yeah, some of them a lot. I actually forgot. Even though they come and ask me like, "What's my name?"
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Oh my
I don't know
goodness.
you.
That's the
Don't
awkward
remember.
stuff, man. Yeah, wow. Nah.
Yeah.
What about you, Kenny? Do you
No.
remember everyone that was there?
Yeah, because mine is literally like, say, it's almost like it was like 15 families,
Yep.
and this is all my uncles and my cousins. So for me, it's like any events that I go to in our community, that's the people I see.
Oh.
So I have the list still on my laptop, so I know. And I even gave it to my sister when she was doing hair planning.
Oh, so you can
So
just
it's
use that
literally
directly,
just like,
transfer across.
It's like my uncle and his 8 kids, my other uncle and his 8 kids. So it's not really
Wow.
like
Oh, this
it's
guy.
not many people I have to know. It's the uncle and the entire family, entire family. So
Oh wow,
It's
nah,
very,
this
very
guy's smart, man.
Yeah.
Nah, he did good. He
I
did
think,
good.
I think from my family side, I would
Yeah.
remember, but not from my in-law side because I don't know some of the in-laws.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, nah, it's
you
like
have more
that.
control over your side.
Side,
At
yeah.
least
Yep.
you can select and you can tell your family who to bring, like Kenny said, you know.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
me,
yeah.
I knew word to word.
Yep.
Most of my uncles and stuff, but obviously didn't see them for many years. But
Yeah.
them, yeah.
Nah, it's like that. Mine was the same sort of setup, guys. You know, people that didn't even know showed up. But the thing was, what was weird about mine was people travel from interstate just to crush my wedding, man. I'm like, that's pretty brave, man.
Uninvited?
Uninvited, and I'm sure. I think you guys were all there anyway. Outside, I'm sure you saw a crew of people waiting outside. Those guys weren't invited. I don't even know who they were, honestly. But
that's a mission.
you know, that's the kind of things that seems to happen a lot, especially when it comes to Sudanese weddings. Every wedding I've been to, there's people always outside that weren't invited. That's why I have one rule. My personal rule is if I'm not invited, I'm not going. I don't care what the rules. I don't care if I know you for years. Even if you're my best friend, if you didn't invite me, I'm not coming. Because maybe you forgot about me, but there's a reason why I wasn't invited. But it seems that doesn't flow very well to our Sudanese people. Because an event, oh my gosh, I'm definitely invited. I'm going. Even if I don't have an invite, I'm going. And even, I don't know if you guys have this happen a lot where someone tells you, oh, someone so-and-so is having a wedding. Do you want to come with me? And then you're like, I'm not invited. Just come, man. Doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. I'm sure you guys get that sort of stuff too.
yeah.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I'm just like, dude, I'm not coming. You can't force me to be somewhere where I'm not invited. But yeah, so that seems to be quite, so it seems the numbers weren't small for everyone here. Pretty big numbers. But here's a funny story. I went to an Australian wedding. I was invited there. And take a guess how many people were invited.
10.
Ooh, that's pretty low.
59,
Ooh, getting there.
20?
Oh, it's higher. It's higher.
70.
50?
It was about 90.
So
And
below 100.
Yeah, below 100. And the funny thing is, all those people that were there, I asked the bride and groom if they knew every single person in that room. And the funny thing about that too is, I was running 5 minutes late, and they called me to see where I was. Now, that's what I'm talking about. See, like it's so different. And like while I was at the wedding, there was no random person standing around, no group of people outside. There was nothing. Everyone was inside. All seats were allocated, and if someone didn't make it, they were already notified, so they know someone's not coming. Everyone respected their wishes. We waited for them. They went to the floor. They came back. We did the stuff, and everyone went home. And I was like, wow, this is very different. The whole time I was like, man, if this was a Sudanese, man, we'll have like 20,000 people outside who weren't even invited. And they were like, yeah, you know what, Patrick? When it comes to Australian weddings, we only invite people we know, people that have impacted our lives, and that's it. And I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like maybe as Sudanese, especially living abroad, we should go down that path as well, because it ain't cheap paying for, 300 people for a wedding. It ain't cheap paying for all these people that, because it's only for a couple of hours, but it costs you a big savings of money that you cannot spend anywhere else now. So it seems we talked about that now. The next thing I wanted us to talk about, because now we talked about the wedding, let's talk about the, so I know this is a funny thing because a lot of weddings have this where I've been to a few weddings where there was a lot and lots of speeches, lots of talking. Everyone wants to talk and everyone has advice for some weird reasons to give you. Even though they could talk to you privately, they want the mic because it's better if they can share so everyone can hear it. And they always want to start from your childhood, or their childhood when they were a baby and how they became the person they are today. So I don't know if you guys had personally had someone like that at your wedding, or you had people like that who just wanted to talk. even though you told them the rules, no talking. I only have 2 people, but they hijacked it anyway. I know I did. I was wondering if you guys had any like that. Do you guys have anyone like that? Or people like that at your weddings as well?
For me, no. So for us, the only people who gave a speech was me and my wife, both parents from both sides, and then the groomsmen and the bride,
The maid of
the
honor.
best man.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
The maid of honor and
the maid of honor and the best man.
Yeah, yeah.
They were the only people who gave speeches.
Yeah.
Because we were not gonna do that. Anyone can have a talk. This is not a debate show or anything like that. Because I think like one of the funniest thing is they say whenever an uncle says I don't have much to say,
They have something
you know,
to say.
so strap down because this guy he has a lot to say, you know. So
Yeah,
for
no.
us, we made sure that we went through the timetable for the whole day and all the speeches and stuff like that because it was unnecessary. A lot of the advice and stuff that we got from those people one-on-one. It didn't have to be in this big, and no one was trying to really take that day and make it about themselves. And everybody was very respectful that, you know, we made the decision. These are the people talking. Everybody respected that, and no one complained about, oh, why didn't they get to talk?
Yeah.
Which is good.
No, that's good. That's good. So no one really complained. No, that's what you want. You know, you want them to take it easy because nothing worse than people making you feel bad later. What about you?
Yeah, I think I had a pretty bad experience.
Okay.
But organized well,
Yeah.
but then didn't rock up as I intended.
Oh.
Before the wedding, I think I've already told my in-laws that, you know, it's only 3 people speaking. It's the parents, my bestie from both sides,
Yep.
and then one of my siblings. But my mother-in-law said, I got another 6 more people that I want
Hey.
to talk. I was like, sorry,
Yeah.
they're not gonna be on that
Yeah.
day. And so, unfortunately, which is good at the end, she accepted it. But on the day, we had an issue. But aunties who wanted to grab the mic and wanted to talk, like just coming from there, going to my to our host and said, "Hey, I want to say something." And they're literally grabbing attention on the day, wanted to say something. I had to get my sister to go and get her away from here. What did she want?
Wow.
She was drunk. You know what? She was drunk, and yeah, so it didn't. They didn't get the chance to talk,
Yeah.
but they created a drama that was unnecessary.
So the credit scene
Yeah,
now.
they
Everyone's
created
looking
a
at that
scene
scene.
pretty much.
Yeah. Wow.
We stayed to the script, but
Yep.
still they created a scene that was not necessary.
Yeah. Sure. So we can't control everyone there these days, especially.
People like attention, to be honest.
Yeah.
On those big days, people wanted to be known, shown. You know, I've done this. They've never done anything to us.
Yeah. No. 100%. 100%. They want to feel good, feel important. That's crazy. What about you, Sabia?
Well,
What the speeches are yours?
according to my paper and my desire of structure, it went just like Kenny. But according to reality, it was similar to Sam. So I wanted just the parents, both parents of this family. So my parents, her parents, and then one elder from both sides, the groomsmen and the bridesmaid. That's it. On the day, similar to Sam. People just, the aunties and stuff, they just wanted to pick up the mic and just put themselves in a situation they shouldn't really be at.
Oh, yeah. I was there, man. I saw the hijacking, man.
Yeah,
They were hijacking your mic like crazy, man.
Yeah.
So give me that. I got a story to tell you. Oh, my goodness. Here we go. And it went for long, too. And I was like, okay, well, this is okay. But time's running, guys. But at the end of the day, man, you know, what can you do? You're up there. You can't move.
Yeah, you can't do
You
anything.
can't jump out and say
literally
something.
have to sit there as a statue.
Yep.
Because if you retaliate or you react, it looks
Looks
weird
bad. Yeah,
when
that's
you're there,
it.
you know, you
Yeah.
just have to smile.
Smile and wave, boys.
It's hard to smile, to be honest, in such
It
situations. Especially like me, I'm a person of order.
yeah.
It's just hard for me to just sit there and
Yeah.
do nothing.
Oh.
I had to like be pointing arrows and saying, directing
Yeah.
the sign, please get them out
Oh.
before they say something. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, 100%, man. That's like that.
That day could be very stressful. My wife used to remind me, be like, smile, smile. You know, people are taking photos,
Yeah.
you know, because, you know, something is supposed to happen. We planned it and it's not going according to the thing. And for me, one of the things I hate is if I don't have control of the situation, I don't want to be in the situation. You know, I want total control, you know, full authority of the situation. But sometimes these things can test your patience. And the good thing is, once it's done, it's done. You know, you can move on.
No, 100%. No, it's true. It is like that. What about George? Did you have speeches?
Mine went actually according to the plan, as of course both our parents and also like the both tribes, like the chairmans and also like our aunties. Their advice was actually pretty good, and even like I'm so happy even till this day, even especially during the time, for example, when she's getting handover or during the prize day. I'm so proud, especially of the Muru auntie and uncles. They're actually giving advice within like the stuff that you're going to be facing within the reality, especially between you two or out in the community, and how even you two should be like, you know, working out your own issue or problem that you guys are facing, then hearing from even others like advice and decision.
Okay.
I'm very proud of the advices that they have given me.
No, I think you're like the first I heard that enjoyed the advice, man. Most of us didn't really enjoy the advice because it was hijacked advice. Because for me, the same thing happened. Like, you know, you have a good plan. I only had 3 people as well, you know, parents. Then we had me and the missus, and then we had one uncle from each side to speak. But then, as you know, when it comes to the what you plan and what happened the day is very different, you know, and that's what happened, you know, out of nowhere. Everyone wanted to speak. They wanted to do their own, you know, speech again and again and again. It's like, dude, I only gave you one uncle. Pick the uncle. He can speak. I don't care. But they were like, no, about 3 of us want to speak. Like, no, we're already out of time. This ain't happening, and I don't want it. But they were like, nah, you can't be like that. You gotta be respectful. I'm like, look, you gotta respect time too. So I'm here arguing with people, and it's like, dude, meant to be the groom, meant to be smiling. But I even saw one of my wedding pictures. I look mad in the actual picture, so which I'm happy about. Actually, it shows that I was standing for what I wanted. So, you know, no one's gonna control me on my special day. You know, especially when, you know, you pay all this money, you sacrifice everything with your partner, and then some people try to ruin your day because they just want to speak or give advice when they could have called you, like you guys said earlier, you know, privately, one-on-one, just tell you guys what the advice is. So they'd rather waste your time, waste your money, especially when you have a time limit on the hall and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, it was quite the experience. But as you can see, they all gave some advice. I'm sure we all got some advice. You know, if I'm being honest, I've got some advice too. I remember receiving some. Some of them were good, but some were pretty, didn't really do anything for me because I already forgot what they were. So is there any advice that you guys that received on your wedding day that you're like, oh yeah, that's actually pretty solid advice, and right now you can see it actually, you know, happening in your marriage? So we'll go around and everyone can answer something.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think I like most of the advice that people gave, starting from my parents and even my in-laws and to my siblings. I think they gave good advice. The advice were all trust God in the process, trust God in your marriage, that if you put Him first, everything will work out good. If you believe in each other, everything will work out good. So I think the advice until today, I think, stuck with me. And then also some of the advice I appreciated, that I knew what I was doing. And it's true that I knew what I was doing, and that I will continue to do that in my own marriage as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I received some pretty amazing advice. One that hit home for me was her parents. What they mentioned was based on the speech that I gave at the church service when I was doing my vow. So basically what the father said is, just trust in God. If you do what God tells you and you do exactly what you said in the church service during your vow, things will be all right. Things will be good. So that was the advice I received, and I hang on to it until now.
Fantastic. Wow. No, that's good, man. That's good. That's very good. I think that's good advice, especially, you know, you said some good vows right there. You better honor those vows as well, because, you know, you did say in front of everyone. We all heard it. Don't lie to us now. We know what you said, and we got a video of it on YouTube too. So, you know, you better stay true to what you said. We got evidence. What about you, Ken? Is there any advice that really stuck out with you?
Yeah, like all of the speeches at the wedding, the reception was good. It's all same sort of advice about, you know, unity in the house, trusting in God, and always sticking together. But the advice that I received, some of the best advice I would say comes from the person you find it is hardest to listen to. It's usually the person that is not the best example to follow, but they'll give you the best advice because usually we wouldn't follow it because of the person. But my uncle, he gave me advice, was talking about, like saying that love is not, just about, all the good times and things. He's saying true love is, what you do during those tough times, when things are not going well, through all those sort of things, that's when true love is really shown and tested. So for me to hear that from him, it's the last person you expect to give you any sort of advice of marital, but it was the best advice because, it hit hard and it made perfect sense, and it's something that, I use in my everyday because you know how things are. When you live with a person, you guys get under each other's skin, but understanding that, you made a vow before God and everyone you love to be with this person and to look after this person. So some of those things that it seems a lot bigger is not as big when you think about this is the person I chose to spend my life with. So whatever problem that might be big, you think back to the vows and the things that you promised before everyone, then it quiets down because it doesn't seem as big as, the promise that you've made.
Wow, no, that's really good. I like what you said that too, that, the things you go through, when you remember those vows, they're not as big anymore. It's very true, and I'm sure a lot of us can agree to that there's moments when you really you get annoyed or, you guys having issues, but when you remember in that moment, when you had that mic and you said those vows, it's like, no, those vows are greater than this experience. Those vows are greater than this, this challenge that we're going through, and we can work through this because we said we can. And I think that's some definitely good advice. I think I got something similar to that too. So it was definitely a really good advice. And for me personally, the advice that stuck out with me was that put God in the center of your marriage always. That doesn't matter what happens at the end of the day. That put God first, because ultimately the marriage came from God. And God is the one that brought you guys together. Make sure that you always put him first. If you have issues with her, talk to God first. And then you can, talk to her later. So just always, put God and tell God about what you're going through and stuff in your marriage. Because ultimately, it's because of God. That's why you guys actually met each other. So it was good advice like that. And I'm sure George got us some advice too that he can, share with us as well. Some that probably stuck out for him as well. Is there something that really got you?
Exactly like all the advice you guys have said, those are advices that I've heard, from our other great uncles even, but especially we know that we have given vows to each other, no matter what we're going to go through, we're for each other till, death do us part. And especially like if we have like problem, just like for example, don't sleep without, fixing the problem that we have. And that's one thing that, of course, we remind each other. That's why we're giving our vows to each other. And especially recording that we're giving the vows to each other, like you guys have said. That's what we actually just, clicks, just gives us like the punch as if we need to do what we need to do.
That's good. That's very good. Vows are very powerful. And I'm sure all of us took it very seriously in that day. Everyone was watching. Got nervous. God's watching too, So you can't lie to God. And, good vows, especially if you really mean it, it can make your marriage really good. Yeah. And as you guys heard today, some different challenges, different experiences there. But I think the main point that stuck out from everything that we've spoken about is that, if you do love the person, they're worth the sacrifice. They're worth paying that money, there's nothing too big if you love the person, because ultimately you're going to spend the rest of your life with this person. Also, perspective matters on how you look at this stuff, Sometimes, if you look at something negatively, then you'll have a negative experience about it. If you look at it positively, you might have a better experience, especially when it comes to, marriage and that. And that wedding, if you're Sudanese and you're going to that, bro, 300 people is nothing. That's going to happen. So just expect that, don't be, don't beat yourself up for it. That's just the way it is. It's the way our parents are and the way that because they want to invite everyone, because everyone invited them to their own event as well. So you just got to stand your ground as a man. And tell your parents, look, this is my wedding, here's a number for you. You work with that. We should never just let them take control, because then you might have actually be resentful towards them later, and we don't want that. And then we also mentioned advice. Vows are very important, as all the men here agree that vows are very important, especially that we mentioned in front of God, in front of everyone, that, when situations come, remember your vows, because your vows are ultimately what can get you through that situation. And never sleep angry. I like that advice. That's really good advice. I think that's actually in the Bible as well. Never sleep and don't let the sun set, I believe, on, anger. Set yourself free by speaking the problems out. So that's a very great thing. Great conversation that we have with the guys today. We're almost approaching an hour here. So, hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. But one thing that I want you audience to do is if you like anything we talked about, you want us to expand more on it, feel free to send us a message. You can go and check out the podcast through the link. And on that link, you can send a message directly what you want us to talk more about. But until then, the next topic is going to be very interesting. I hope you guys tune into that, subscribe, and keep listening. So let's all say goodbye, gentlemen. Say goodbye to the audience, yeah?
Bye, guys.
Bye,
See you guys next time.
See you guys next time.
And that is all we have time for. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The African Next Door. Do not forget to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. This has been The African Next Door. Patrick out. Woo!